And I will talk to you a little bit about what we do at Radically, but I'll actually do that as part of the talk. So the topic today, it's not technical, so disclaimer. So it's really nice to hear that the meetup isn't one of, I'm not letting you down here. But yeah, I'll tell you a little bit. When I first came to New Zealand as a 10-year-old, this is back in 1995, my parents said to me, "Son, we came here for you and your sisters to thrive. Follow your heart, and you can be anything you want to be as long as it's an engineer, a doctor, or a lawyer," right? So in 2006, 20 years ago, I graduated with a computer systems engineering degree at the University of Auckland, and I started my professional career at a company called Gentrack, which some of you may know, as an analyst programmer. And my technical analyst programmer career lasted about a year and a half because the developers started talking to each other because of me, and it wasn't good for business. So I found a way to get promoted into leadership roles. But pretty much, I realized I followed the second part of what my parents said, but I wasn't quite following the follow your heart part. And if I reflect back on the last 20 years, my career has been sort of driven through my care for finding people that see potential within an organization, and then working and then connecting with those people, not just to talk about it, but to make stuff happen. So as we go through the talk today, just my experience in the background is I've been had a couple of leadership roles. I went through the wave of agile and transformations, project management, and then I found my way to this place called Radically, and that's our purpose. So we're a consulting company that's we're 8 years old now, and our purpose is we work at the intersection of high performance and humanity to prepare our clients for the future of work. So it really does mean a lot to us, because the minute I was talking to someone earlier today, when I say I'm a consultant, there's a lot of stereotypes that comes with consulting. And at Radically, we truly do mean this, and we try to change the mold. So, our main services are focusing on improving delivery. And if you just improve delivery, you realize that organizations have multiple teams, multiple large programs. You have to sort of look at how you plan for the enterprise and how strategy connects through and flows to the teams. And more now, what we're doing is operating model work, because lots of organizations are realizing they've got a great strategy, they've got great, passionate, hardworking people, but they're not organized to execute to their strategy. And doing restructures every year, it's just taking a toll on their culture. They're destroying their culture every year through that. So I won't go into op model, but there's a whole lot of information on our website and things we can talk to. But that just gives you a glimpse what I mean when I say op model, if you're not used to hearing that word. Okay, so this is an AI meetup. Cue exciting transition. Okay, and thank you. And feel free to clap at any point in time, okay? I'll welcome that. And big laughs and, live streaming on LinkedIn. No. The rush to adopt AI is on, unless you've been living under a rock. Has anyone figured out the answers, like how to implement and adopt AI perfectly? Anyone? Because it might be your next speaker if they put their hand up, right? Yeah. So today, my lightning talk, it's the start of a conversation, because it's shining a light on something that's quite important and dear to my heart. And I wish I had the answers, but what I'm going to leave you with is some important points to not forget while our world is sort of in this, chaos of trying to be first to figure this out. Yeah. So with Radically, as we've done this work, let me take you back a little bit to a calmer time before AI. Okay, before we talked about AI transformations and which tool to get a subscription to. Does anyone notice something all these calmer people have in common? The bags, they're all carrying bags, right? Like, what's going on? So I just wanted to use a visual metaphor to say, look, when we've worked with organizations during different types of transformations. They've had big legacy projects replacing systems. We've had agile transformations. And now we've got AI adoption as in the mix as well. Through all these transformations, the focus can go on the thing that you are implementing, right? And at Radically, what we realize is there's some foundational, consistent things that if you don't address, that your transformation won't be successful. You'll have things to point to and show that the transformation's done, but performance of your organization might not be what you're desired to have. And that's because there's this baggage that people are carrying, okay? So keen to take a look on some of these bags, see what it is. Leadership isn't aligned. I'd love to see some nods or some, maybe we even clap loudly if this resonates, right? No. So leadership isn't aligned. This is one that we hear. We're all so busy but not delivering the outcomes we need. Yeah? I can relate. Thanks for the nods. Strategy and execution feel disconnected. Yeah? We did a little bit of work with an organization and we did a review of their strategy to execution. And the analogy they said, we have all the parts, Suj, like say it's a bicycle, we have all the parts, but it's not connected and we don't have a bicycle. So you can point objectives and key results. Yeah, we do that. Strategic themes. Yes, we have that. Governance process. We have that. Tools. We have it, but it's just not connected and it doesn't flow to set the team up for success. It doesn't always feel safe to speak up. So psychological safety is a huge thing. And unfortunately, the more you talk about it, the less you probably have it, right? It's just like growth mindset. I feel the people that talk about growth mindset the most, or when people say, I'm an empath, I'm very empathetic, it's almost like an alarm bell that like the true empathetic people don't say it, right? So organizations that are signaling, that they have heaps of psychological safety, you just need to talk to the people and see what are the chats in the corridors and in the bars and in the coffee shops. Those are chats that should be happening in the meetings to move the organization forward. Our processes are outdated and slow us down. So we sometimes are just trying to refine an outdated process and just make it even better, right? And someone in the organization is in love with that process and won't let go of it, right? So this is another thing. Legacy mindsets, unhealthy culture, fueling drama instead of progress. We literally work with leadership teams and teach them this concept of the drama triangle. And they very quickly, it's very sobering. They call us Radically for a reason because we push these conversations. And it's quite daunting to sit with the executives and say, you are playing a villain role, and that leader who acts confident in front of you is actually a victim as a result of that. And this is how it feels, and it trickles down the organization. And then we want empowerment, and you see this big gap between leaders and the teams because they haven't invested in lifting the capability. So everyone says we want empowerment, you give people empowerment, but you haven't set them up with the capability or competency to be empowered. So when they fail, you take it back. And you say, that's why we have to direct, right? As much as all these people are carrying baggage, there's one person suffering here more than others. Don't know if you noticed it. This guy, his legs are going a different way to his torso. So a little bit of an AI hallucination there for us. Just thought I'd highlight that. But on a more serious note, is there a risk I'm going to lose my job? So this is in the calmer world before AI. How is this worry or anxiety these days, right? It's only getting amplified. So as I go through this, I won't have the answers of how all these get solved. We have done some great work with organizations so far to address this, and there's great results in pockets of this. But this is the foundation of your organization. And whatever big transformation you do, if this isn't taken care of, it'll reveal itself. So now with that said, let's come back to our picture. That looks a little bit more stressful when we go back to it, right? Unfortunately, the risk that we have at hand is a little bit worse because the rush to adopt AI is on. But what I'm saying is we've also brought our bags along for the ride, right? So lots of organizations are moving very fast, but they're still carrying all of this with them as well. And you're moving fast potentially to a bit of pain and failure. And that's the message I'm trying to leave everyone with today. Not to be worried about it, but just to be mindful and then take that into consideration so you don't fall into that trap. Awesome. So these are sort of the three areas I described earlier that Radically talks about. What we're noticing a lot now is in terms of looking at improving performance, a lot of organizations are still in the bolting AI at this delivery level, right? Which isn't going to give you, it's going to make small localized efficiencies in here, but it's not going to give you the overall productivity gains you might be chasing. And instead, what the conversations we're having now and what we're trying to rapidly innovate on is, as we work with organizations on all of this, how do we look at creating an AI-powered organization? And we don't have the answer, but this is what we're tackling, right? And this is what our hypothesis is, that this method, collecting lots of bolting on, while you still have those problems, or ignoring it and just trying to solve those problems and not touching AI, either way, that's not the optimum way to move forward. We'll send you the slides, Andy? Yeah, so just letting you know, if there are leaders that you think might be interested, there is a course that we're running that we've just hired so in terms of this work that we're talking about here, we've hired a head of AI, and with our partners, we're now actively trying to figure this out. And they've lined up a couple of these sessions with the executives already. And this is how Radically's always evolved, is we work with leaders to figure it out. We're not the type of consultancy that says we have the answer for you, because we're tackling gnarly problems that are in front of us, right? And I think it's a disservice to act like we have a cookie cutter answer ready to go. We have to build it with leaders in businesses. So just letting you know that's there, and it's on our website as well. Yeah, and this is one of the things our teams, the head of AI and Casper, one of our partners, has been sort of reflecting on is, yesterday was teams just with digital tools, and to be honest, some organizations are still trying to adopt that, right? Jira, Miro, all these sort of things. And then today, there's more and more teams with AI tools, and the frontier that we're in is where we're looking at humans and agent teams. But what we're saying is what's coming up, and you can see the potential multiplier in performance that we're talking about here. The next frontier is what we're trying to get ahead of and start thinking about now, is the AI-powered organization. We're scaling the outcomes through productivity, new economics, and products and services. And like the op model is rebuilt around accepting that agents, accepting agents and agentic teams, but also making sure that people set the direction, supervise, and still own the outcomes. Okay, so just to sort of wrap up, we talked about all these problems that people are facing, and I just have some summary points just for you to remember as we sort of embark on AI. So that's my image of leaders being curious about the bags before they rush into AI, okay? So don't sprint into AI with yesterday's baggage. So you have to start to explore and understand this. If you have misalignment, low trust, weak empowerment, it's not going to disappear. And then if you think of a car, if we're trying to create a vehicle that can move really fast, in the book Better, Sooner, Safer, Happier, I don't know if you've, some nods, they talk about how if you take care of your airbags, your brakes, and take care of the foundations, you can then go faster, right? If you just focus on the speed, you better hope you don't make any mistakes, right? Same goes here. And this is unique to every organization. What is at risk if you go too fast? Think about that. Yeah, and don't mask the dysfunction. Keep your AI focused on elevating and accelerating value, not just automation. There are a lot of people making bad processes more efficient. And I was just talking to someone, you're just getting to the bad result faster and celebrating it, right? We need to hold ourselves to a slightly better standard. And yeah, I guess this is sort of that reminder that you should start to be thinking about humans and agents together performing. Whereas the more you resist that and say AI is bad, you will start to fall behind. So this is kind of like one of those things where you shouldn't go too slow either, right? Yeah, and go slow to go fast. So move deliberately, then move fast. And finally, the thing I'd want to say is, to that point of the anxiety people have where they might be losing their job, or, where's my career path that I had planned? There are people that are getting paid 250K salaries that are struggling to get a job out there. Our belief and our hope is that the organizations that thrive with AI will be led by leaders who see it as an enabler for their people and organizations to reach the next level of performance, not as a shortcut to reducing headcount. Cool, thank you. Awesome.
Thank you, Sujith. Before we move on, not so fast, any questions? Just have to repeat the question.
Yeah.
This is an embarrassingly simple question.
Yeah.
There have been a lot of technology revolutions in recent years. So there was the corporate computing revolution of the 1960s and 70s.
Yeah.
There was the personal computer revolution of
Yeah.
the 80s. There was the internet revolution of the 90s and the noughts.
Yeah.
And now we have apparently an AI revolution.
Yeah.
So my question is, what lessons do you think one can take from those previous revolutions
Yeah.
to apply here and now to this one?
If I just look at the last couple of revolutions, we used to have behaviors from the Industrial Revolution, actually, quite a long time ago. And and back then, what you're doing is a little bit more simple, like predictable. You're building a car. You can have any color as long as it's black. There's no competition, so you'd get the cars. And Henry Ford, I think, has a quote where he says, "Why is it that every time I need a pair of hands, it comes with a brain?" You could treat your staff like crap, and they would, because they just have to do the task that's defined. But more and more, as we go through these revolutions, the simple part actually moves into the complex domain. And in the complex domain, you have to work more adaptively. You have to care about what people are thinking, and you have to work together iteratively. So what we've talked about in the last revolution was about understanding where we have to be more iterative, to inspect and adapt, make hypotheses. That needs to be dialed up. And then the other side is we have to bridge the gap between leaders and people to listen to each other. There's such an inefficiency in how people communicate, where when people communicate up, it's a lot of emotion and detail. And when leaders communicate down, there's not enough context, clarity, there's more direction and oversimplifying the detail that the people need. So to me, that's what comes, I feel like a beauty pageant answering the questions. Yeah. Awesome. Oh, a couple more, yeah?
So one thing that Radically is known for is training courses.
Yeah.
And I can point to a couple, the product owner training course,
Yeah.
Scrum Master training course, the Agile frameworks.
Yeah.
How do you see these traditional Agile roles evolving in the age of AI? Do you think they're going to disappear? Do you think they're more important than ever? Do you think they're going to change? see?
Good question. I have my perspective. I don't know if it's the best practice answer, but I actually think, so even if you mentioned agile roles, I used to have lots of agile roles, and now I'm a consultant, which is quite disgusting for agile people to think that someone has become a consultant. All these roles should be in service of value and in service of people, right? And the way I sort of survived the agile roles is a lot of those roles are a centralized role because there's a capability and skill missing in people. But once, the Scrum Master role, for example, Agile Coach role, but the purpose of that role is over time, once you put the capability and competency into the people and the system, you shouldn't need to exist. And that I've seen lots of people fulfill that, and they aren't unemployed. They have just found the next role to add value. And this is where it's like, you can't, you couldn't have told me when I was young I was going to have an Agile Coach role. But now, the roles that are going to be there next year, you don't even know what the roles are. So what we guide people in is you just have to chase the value and find your drivers, what brings you purpose and passion, and the role part will take care of itself. It's not the ideal answer people want, but I think that is the way to look at things. Not start from your role and think, how do I keep my role alive? It's where's the value for people and what role. Yeah, cool. Yeah.
What is the last line of the go slow, go fast?
Yes.
And I'm just thinking, can those legacy companies or incubators can afford to go slow? Or do they have that?
Yeah. No.
Looking at all the different industries, from marketing
Yeah.
to law to insurance.
Yes.
All the young kids in their 20s, doing
Yeah.
AI for AI-native companies, and
Yeah.
come to those different industries and take on the market.
Yeah.
Those legacy companies, I just feel like they don't have time to go slow.
Yeah. Honestly, it's a Venn diagram, right? It's not don't go fast. If you don't go fast, you will lose, right? But the people that are going to win are the people that are managing the pace. It's like the person that in a marathon starts sprinting at the beginning. That doesn't end well, right? You have to think about what direction are you heading in. So people that are bolting AI on really fast and thinking that AI adoption is a tech-led thing, it has to be business and tech. It has to be all your leaders looking at it together. So I guess the thing is, or my message is actually not to not go fast. It's don't go recklessly fast. So, yeah. Cool. Sorry, taking a lot of time. Thank you for the questions.
Thanks again. Well, thanks, Sujith. I didn't realise when I looked at those slides, I saw the light bulbs on there in the daytime. Outdoors, fantastic. And I thought, oh, therapy. This feels like a therapy session. So you've been awesome. Thank you so much. Moving on to our next speaker, Daz. Daz will do his own introductions, and he has the clicker.